Good morning, world. Welcome to another Ham of Earth video. I'm Josh Ham, and you are all my fellow citizens of Earth. Now today, we're going to get into something different. We are going to read the newspaper. If you find value in this content, please like and comment down below. And if you watch through to the end, consider subscribing and becoming part of the global community. Now, why read the newspaper? Reading the newspaper can help increase your critical thinking. It helps you analyze new information and process to help you form a thought of your very own. So, without further ado, we are going to get into this. October 11th, 2020, Stars and Stripes. It is a good Sunday indeed. Now, I'll briefly just skim through an article and then I'll probably hit on a few talking points just to highlight what I saw. Go ahead and have your beverage. This is not coffee, this is water. You can't see. Now the good thing about this Yeti cup is it keeps your hots hot and it keeps your colds cold. So it works for coffee and it works for water. So win-win. Let's see. Insult to injury. Delta moves hurricane-ravaged Louisiana. Lafayette, Louisiana. Ripping tarps off damaged roofs and scattering massive piles of storm debris in the wind. Delta made landfall Friday evening near the town of Creole. Is it Creole or Creole? I'm not too sure, but if you're from New Orleans or any area in Louisiana, let me know how that's supposed to be pronounced. Delta made landfall Friday evening near the town of Creole, a few miles east of where Laura hit in August. Okay, so looks like we had a hurricane in Louisiana. All my Louisiana folk, I hope you're doing okay. I hope this hasn't affected you drastically. Just know I'm thinking about you. I'm gonna go ahead and flip to the next page. Stocks climb, biggest weekly gain in 3 months. So this could be quite relevant. A lot of my friends and colleagues these days are investing into the stock market. Normally during any kind of free time, this is where conversation typically leads. S&P 500 rose 0.9%. Its third straight gain. Okay, I have to be completely honest. I'm not too savvy when it comes to the stocks, stock market, S&P, Wall Street, anything like that. So, though I'm reading this article, I'm looking at percentages increasing. Index ended the week with a 3.8% gain. S&P 500 rose 30.31 points to 3,477.14. These numbers just don't calculate. I don't understand what they mean. So pardon my ignorance in this. Seeing this now, maybe it's something I will take it upon myself to become more invested in it. More savvy. Lawmakers seek to protect Paris Island. Okay, so this could be quite significant for all of the Marine troops out there, all of you Marines. 3 lawmakers from South Carolina introduced legislation Friday to stop the Marine Corps from closing its recruiting depot at Paris Island in South Carolina in order to train new troops in a co-ed environment at another location. Now that is a hot topic across all military branches. That's the progression towards females, not just in the military in general, because they have been part of the military for years and years now, but females in combat arms. I am in full support of it. I think if they would like to, join the ranks of, combat arms, and they're able to physically, support the team, then why not allow them to join? Let me know what you think about that. Let's see. So the lawmakers are calling this bill the Paris Island Protection Act. Here's an interesting fact about the inclusion of women here at Paris Island. While Paris Island has recently begun integrating male and female recruits at the company level, it is only done when there are smaller numbers of female recruits during slower training months. So essentially, they're trying to protect the small number of female recruits that are there by placing them in cycles with the lower population. Okay. Let's see. U.S. Army surpasses 18,000 coronavirus cases. So as of Friday, the Army has had 18,213 soldiers infected with the coronavirus. Let's see. Overall, the military has had 48,513 cases, and of those, only 630 hospitalizations. Second to the Army, the Navy has reported 10,668 cases. Looks like the Air Force is coming in third with 7,585 airmen having been infected with the coronavirus. So this is still running rampant no matter where you are. The Army, and I know other military organizations as well, are taking as many precautions as they can to prevent the spread of this infection. So we're wearing masks, any kind of public area. I can only speak for places I have personally been stationed or have been to. A lot of the recreational facilities have been closed, and the gym hours have decreased significantly. Okay. And still on the topic of the coronavirus, Trump official says vaccine expected starting in January. I know there is a fine line that divides the people who will and who will not take any first-run vaccination for the coronavirus. Being in the military, there's a high likelihood that we will have to receive this vaccine. have here? Okay, so there's a bit of a void in Afghanistan. It seems as though attacks are on the rise as U.S. military has been decreasing their numbers. In a way that was to be expected, the U.S. presence really does deter a lot of this kind of activity. It's not a surprising thing to see more activity as troops have been removed from the area. Here on page 8, we revisit the cover story for the storms in Louisiana. Hurricane Delta is what they are calling it. Okay, here is an article regarding the protests that have been happening in, excuse me if I butcher this, Wauwatosa, Wisconsin. 28 arrested. It's a pretty big number in a 3-day span. The world is in a fragile state right now, between the public and the law enforcement officers. While it's important to ensure our voices are heard, I think we must do so in a wise manner so as to not escalate any, especially if it's unnecessary. We don't need unnecessary escalation. So here on page 11, they have this section called American Roundup. And essentially they will have some brief, maybe like one news story from states across America, and they'll give you like an update as far as what's happening around the United States. So here we have in Pennsylvania, Newcastle. A woman in western Pennsylvania was accused of taking nude photos of her young daughters and sending them to a man who in some cases paid for them. That is disturbing. Here we have in Manassas, Virginia, A Northern Virginia teachers union apologized after some of its members used child-sized coffins as props at a protest seeking to delay in-person education. Well, I mean, they're just trying to make maybe a strong statement that says they want to keep their students safe, so maybe the visual was a bit too much for some people to handle, but I don't know if there's really any reason to apologize for that. California, Santa Ana. A former Orange County Sheriff's deputy was charged with burglarizing the home of a dead man. Now, why would you do that? I need to know more about this. Okay. So it seems this individual has okay, so this officer was apparently called to check on an elderly man, and after this elderly man had died of natural causes, this officer thereafter revisited the home multiple times, and removing items from the house of the deceased. It's strange. Things that he had removed included ceiling fans and a safe. Yikes. Silver City, New Mexico. The national forest that covers much of mountainous southwestern New Mexico again faces a high fire danger. Guys, we need to take care of our environment by whatever means necessary. There is only so much of it, and there is only so much that can be recovered. I fear that we are destroying much more than we are recovering, and at a significantly higher rate. So we need to find a way to slow down this process of our global destruction using up finite materials. Chicago, Illinois. Woman charged after ramming cops' cars. Okay, that seems like the right thing to do. If you ram a police car, you should probably face some kind of consequence for that. Lyon Township, Michigan. A man was charged after a motorist was seriously injured by a sandbag tossed from a southeastern Michigan freeway overpass. So this dude, hanging out on an overpass, just decides to chuck a sandbag over the edge, and you injured a driver. Seriously. Sandbag, struck the windshield, and hospitalized this driver. That's absurd. Here we have some good news coming out of Portland, Maine. 4th grade educator is state's Teacher of the Year. A 4th grade teacher at the Gerald E. Talbot Community School in Portland is Maine's Teacher of the Year. Well, kudos to that. Especially at the 4th grade level, that is such where a rubber meets the road age. This teacher is known for keeping students engaged and sometimes even dances on chairs and tables to lighten the mood in the classroom. I think back to 4th grade, and I think about how beneficial this type of atmosphere might have been for me. At that time, I was Ms. DePaw. This was my educator. She was a strict, firm, but professional educator. So while she was not, dancing on chairs to lighten the mood, she did give her absolute best to ensure that her students were educated and well-rounded children. She was the Mr. Feeney of kind of our town. Everyone knew her for being strict but fair, and she provided a lot of guidance as we grew. Even to this day, now her former students are still always happy to see her, and she's always happy to see us. So Ms. DePaw, if somehow you see this, hello. Okay, next up we have got the comics. Comics are always fun. We got the Beetle Bailey, Doonesbury. That sounds intense. So I'm not gonna go through the comics. I'm just gonna sort of show you guys. Look, these are always gonna be in every paper. So if you're the kind of person that enjoys comics, definitely check this out. Here, we'll go over this one right here. It's called Fort Knox. Shout out to Kentucky. Mind if I stay for dinner, Joe? Not at all. Great! I just realized that my fridge is completely empty, and I love Jane's cooking. You know you're always welcome here, Frank. But I don't want to be a mooch. You're not? Then I'd love to take home leftovers too. For tomorrow? For the whole week. That's interesting. That is called Fort Knox. It looks like it's a good story between maybe two neighbors, people who live on the same street as one another. Okay, next up, page 13, we have, it looks like this is sort of the cultural page. We have music. Okay, so this is going to cover, looks like this Stars and Stripes in particular is covering the Prince catalog. So we have a full spread here for an introduction to the Prince article, and then we have a couple write-ups, looks like, of different albums. We'll go ahead and see what there is to say here. In regards to Purple Rain, it's asking, why did Purple Rain jump 68 spots on Rolling Stone's 500 greatest albums list? Ooh. That is a good question. I haven't seen an updated list of Rolling Stone's 500 greatest albums. But now I'm quite curious and I want to look that up to see just where certain albums are ranked. There's a lot of great ones out there. So yeah, it'd be fun to check it out. So aside from Prince, we also have reviews on a few additional albums. We have Blackpink, which I don't know this. The intro to this review is, it takes a special kind of swagger to name your first full-length studio record the album. But this is the kind of stuff artists like Blackpink are made of. The 8-track record might not be as long as fans might want, but it's got everything they'd wish for. Trappy pop, sassy raps, offbeat instrumental interludes, and some spectacular collaborations with Selena Gomez and Cardi B. Overall, a musically cohesive work. The album kicks off with the high-octane first single, How You Like That. The song goes full fanfare with bells, whistles, and everything in between for a head-spinning dance bop. Second single, Ice Cream, a collaboration with Gomez, is a bubblegum pop track with elements of trap, while the Cardi B assisted Bet You Wanna has a simple beat enhanced by Blackpink's voice. The rest of the songs paint a modern picture, choppy sequences, syncopated melodies on percussion and string and wind instruments. That's from Christina Jalaru from the Associated Press. That is that review. Next up we have Fleet Foxes. Sure, one might have predicted a somber release for Fleet Foxes amid a pandemic. Their last album, Crack Up, was darker in tone, touching everything from police brutality and internal turmoil to disbelief following the 2016 presidential election. I think a lot of people experienced a bit of disbelief in that time period. Shore punctuates a different reality. Hope. The 15-track album sees lead singer and principal songwriter Robin Pecknold combine some of the more experimental elements of Crack Up and marry them to the brightness found on preceding albums. There are lush soundscapes, fluttery brass, cacophonies, and subdividing rhythms. Fleet Foxes offers solace in a year otherwise marked by turbulence. And that is by Reagan Clark of the Associated Press. Facing an uncertain future. Page 14, travel. Experts weigh in on the question of when Europe travel will open up again. So this is big, not just for the world, but for, it's pretty selfish. I was gonna say me personally, because I'd love to travel. I was stationed in northern Italy for 3 years, so I feel like this hits quite close to home should I ever want to return in the near future. The closure of European borders to American tourists in March, with no clear end, has been one painful facet of the pandemic. This is definitely true. I know people who have had plans to travel to Europe who have had to cancel. I know people who have been stationed in Europe, both Germany and Italy, who have had orders to come back to the United States, but have had to delay that PCS process because of the pandemic hit. And so they've just kind of been sitting in limbo, until the special circumstances have come about that they were finally able to travel. Rick Steves, America's godfather of European travel, has this to say about the pandemic and about the European travel ban. It's whack-a-mole until we get a grip on the virus, Steve says, explaining that when one pocket of the United States starts to reduce its cases of the coronavirus, others lighten restrictions and see new surges of cases. I'm really disappointed that people are so impatient and they don't realize that you can't just jump back to normalcy when things start to look good. And this is true. We've seen it not once but multiple times, especially in the swing of summer. People saw a downturn in cases and therefore started opening up a lot of the public establishments, public areas. And then, cases started to skyrocket once again. So it leaves everyone with the question, where would we be now if everybody had just committed to the initial stay-at-home order and also took necessary precautions like wearing masks and, maintaining social distance? It states back in bold with this same quote from Rick Steves. It's whack-a-mole until we get a grip on the virus. Simone Amorico, CEO of Access Italy. Access Italy is a luxury travel company that primarily guides American customers. I guess this program has been utilized by Barack Obama and Oprah Winfrey. Private tours. So it offers luxury travel in a private manner. Amorico states, I just hope it will be before spring of 2021, which I believe most certain it will happen. And this is in regards to Americans returning to Italy. Sanakira, Finnish tourism official. As far as when Americans will be able to return to the land of saunas, karaoke, and the Northern Lights, unfortunately, it looks very difficult at the moment. And it does look very difficult. There's no telling when a ban will be lifted. Let's see, here we have a book review. Searcher. I have heard some things about this book. I've seen some things online. Some people have recommended it. This is something I would like to jump into. Okay, we got some sports. Big headline for me: Miami Heat push the Lakers to force a Game 6 of the 2020 NBA Finals. Now that is big, considering most NBA analysts had the Lakers winning this in 5 games. The Heat would not be in this position without the heroic effort of one Jimmy Butler, who has helped the Heat secure these 2 victories by having a necessity, having to notch 2 2 triple-doubles, one being a 40-point triple-double and one being a 35-point triple-double. Now, Game 6 is tonight. I look forward to watching this, and I'm hoping this goes to a Game 7 because this has been a hard-fought series between both teams, especially with the Lakers being a 1 seed and the Miami Heat being a 5 seed. So on one end, you have the power duo of Anthony Davis and LeBron James, who is questionably the all-time GOAT, facing off against the Miami Heat, where they have a Jimmy Butler-led team full of young players who have knocked off the top seed Milwaukee Bucks as well as an up-and-coming Boston Celtics team. So we'll see what happens in Game 6. So that's it for the Stars and Stripes today. Thank you all for sitting through and watching me kind of fumble through this. It was my first time doing this. I think it's something I may do more often. It's maybe something I do on a daily basis. However, I might go through the paper beforehand to pick and choose articles that I think might be of interest to you. So thank you again for sticking through and watching this. If you like this video, please comment down below any recommendations you might have for me. If you'd like to see certain topics hit on, I try to steer away from a lot of military and political articles in here. But if that's something you would be interested in, definitely let me know. And if you did enjoy this video, or if you like my shirt or this hat, or if you like this cup, please consider subscribing, joining the global community to see more. So until the next video, thank you. Continue aspiring.